Sometimes you just gotta behead your daughter. At least, that's the moral of the play I saw. But before we talk about this, let's go straight into funworld. Alright, while we're waiting, why don't you subscribe? You know, you have some time on your hand. You can always unsubscribe later. Nailed it. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about Kabuki. So if you have any thoughts at all about Kabuki, leave a comment right now. Okay, let's see how we're gonna be in the... there we go. Very nice, very nice. Oh yeah, I remember we wanted to see the sunset. So we're gonna do that for a second. One of the great treats. Because we're doing like almost 20 minutes each time, we get like one sunset each episode. Look, we also get to look at the sheep and the horses and the world slowly coming into existence as we look upon it. Really makes you think that maybe it doesn't exist unless you're seeing it. I actually listened to a pretty interesting argument about philosophy recently, which I've been thinking about different ways of thinking, well, about different ideas of how the world, well, whether the world exists, how it exists, this kind of things. I'm really good at explaining that one. But yeah, I've been thinking about it, so I might talk about this later, but not today, because today I went to see a Kabuki play in the National Theatre, my favorite theater. Alright, it's getting dark, beautiful. Yeah, my favorite theater in Tokyo, although I also really like the new National Theatre. Very different vibes. Let's see, is there any monsters yet? Not so far. And I was thinking, well, I think most people know what Kabuki is, like in general terms. But if not, it's this very stylized Japanese form of play that was very popular in the like 18th century, and I mean it's still very popular. It's a traditional art form in Japan. Basically, you have, actually I'm not sure. Is it a shamisen? Maybe it's a different type of, but it's kind of like a stringed instrument that plays music. Then there's like drums and someone singing the story, and then the actors are dressed in like really elaborate clothes and have really strong makeup, and it's one of those art forms where only men act, at least traditionally. I think maybe there is now, similar to how before, I think in European theaters there were only men appearing in certain plays. I think maybe now there's also sometimes like alternative things but put on, but traditionally it's only men, and they will play very specific stereotypical roles which the audience will already know. So yeah, it's very interesting. If you don't know anything about Kabuki, don't listen to what I'm saying about it. Look it up, maybe watch a video or something. But the one that I didn't write down. Oh no, that was a close one. Was it? Was it just a pig? Am I being attacked? Let's just go inside. It's actually pretty alright. I'm feeling pretty safe. Like famous last words, I think. But I think the cows are protecting me. Like no one's like, oh, is there anyone? Is there an enemy? Oh, we can't see it. There's just cows and chickens, and they're our friends, and so we won't attack Marius. Yeah. So either way, I was going to write down the name of the play, but I didn't. Let me just quickly see. I have a program. It is called Imoseyama Onna Teikin, which this is like an excessive translation. It's husband and wife mountains, a mirror of virtuous women. Okay, does that make sense? Well, so I thought I will just like summarize what this play is about, because it's kind of like a Japanese Romeo and Juliet story, which apparently is quite loosely based on events that happened in the 8th century, I think it said. So quite a while ago. The play itself was written in the 18th century in Osaka, and it was first written for Bunraku, which is this puppet theater I talked about before as well. And I'm going to go again to a Bunraku performance this week, so I'll talk about it again as well. I don't want to be inside right now. I'll just walk outside here. I'm pretty safe, right? The cows are protecting me. But yeah, it was a good experience. In terms of the story, well, there's like basically 5 characters that you gotta really pay attention to. There were a couple more which were not as relevant to the main story, but it's basically these 2 youngsters, a boy named Kokanosuke. I mean, I say boy, I think I'm not sure we know how old they are, but he's like already kind of a samurai, or he definitely carries like katana, and well, her name is Katana. Her sword traps the souls of her enemies. That's such a fucking bad movie. Yeah, so with katana, it's like this. There's also the samurai cop one. What's the quote for that? It's like, it's katana. It means Japanese sword. Which, I mean, okay, that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so there's boy, he's called Koganosuke. There's a girl, Hinadori. There's the father of the boy. He's called Daihanji. The mother of the girl is called Sadaka. And there's like a villain who. Oh no, this sounded. What happened? Is this like? It sounds like it's an arrow that's shooting by my ear, but I think that's not actually it. I think it's like some sort of. Oh, it's the horse. It's the horse. Mystery solved. I thought, like yesterday, I thought it was an Ender Slender, but it's just the horse making the. Whoa. No, that's not. That's what zombies do. But horse do more. I'm not good at this, but you can hear it if we're close to it, I think. That's an oink. That's not the same. Well, okay, we're not getting it again. Either way, so yesterday, or in the last episode, I thought it was an Ender Slender Mender. And in this episode, I thought it's arrows with whizzing by my ears, almost killing me. But just our friends, the horses. Yeah, so there's a villain who he's relevant to the story, but he's not the main thing. The thing is, so there's a part 1 and a part 2, or basically they're like kind of taking out the love story or love tragedy, if you want to call it that, for the play they're putting on here, and then there's more of a political intrigue story, like kind of like a King Learian. Well, I mean, like a lost emperor, and a fight against the evil thing that they will put on next month, which I'm also going to go to because it's the last chance, last Kabuki play put on in the National Theater. 60 years of history. It's all over. Quite sad. But yeah, okay, so I'm not going to. Oh yeah, so the villain, just so if you want to know, is called Soga no Iruka. and he's just called Iruka a lot of the time. But I'm basically not going to use the names. That's going to be too difficult. I'll just call it boy, girl, father, mother, and villain. Okay, got it. All right. Still not dead. This is great. And there's going to be a moon set soon. Also good. That's my sheep friend. Okay, the play opens on a luscious land like this. Very similar to this. Basically, like imagine here. That's where the play opens. And so now I'm the boy and I'm walking in. Actually, that's the wrong. Forget everything I said. It's not at all true. Oh no. Sarah just came in and okay, all right, okay. We have a deal so she doesn't listen to my my rambling, because then I get self-conscious and I can't produce the quality content we're all expecting. Okay, so I messed this up from the first thing. It's not the boy who's going in, it's the girl and her ladies. I don't know what they are really like. They're just, it's old-timey. The girl is some sort of princess lady, so she has ladies in waiting. Is that what they call them? I don't know. Something like that. So she walks in like this, and then they're talking a little bit, and then the boy walks in. It's kind of like this. That's actually not how I planned on telling the story, but it's actually quite useful. Like this is, I'm really enjoying this. Hopefully you do too, but as long as I'm enjoying it, I mean, we're getting a bang for our buck. Me specifically. Okay, boy walks in, and then like they see each other, and it's like, damn, you fine. It's not exactly what's happening, because she's very formal. She's like raised in a very strict household, and so okay. Either way, like the lady's inviting, like kind of talk between them, and he has like a flute. It's also like there's a bunch of jokes that oh, the glitch saved my life. Oh yeah, did you see that? Like he hit me bang on, but then like it kind of glitched out, and now I'm just living, and he's gonna be dead in any second now, because the sun is rising. You see it here. He's gonna be on fire. He had his one shot and he missed it. Well, I'm not even gonna do anything to him. It's just the circle of life. He did kind of get me away from my stage, though, which was a bit of a problem, because, I mean, how am I going to tell the rest of the story? Ah, there we go. There we go. I mean, it's kind of monstrous to look at him slowly burning to death, but there's going to be more death in the rest of the story, so it just sets the scene. Either way, there's a bunch of jokes in this play, and I don't get most of them, but there definitely is one about like the flute being like a long dick. I'm pretty sure. Like, and people were laughing. I mean, it's difficult Japanese, and like I'm definitely not good enough to understand that all of it, but that one's universal. So anyways, they like fall in love, and like people did back then, it's like basically in 3 seconds they've fallen in love. But then it turns out they are actually the son and daughter of these houses that are completely at odds with each other. Like very Capulet and Montague. Is that what they're called? Capulet and Montague? I think it is. I haven't read and or watched anything with Romeo and Juliet in a long time, but yeah, it's basically that. Although I think not influenced by it, because oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. This was my fault, really, because oh, look at him looking at so sad. I feel bad about it. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. Like, if I had, the problem was I heard the creeper, and before, well, and then basically I went on the wrong side of. Ah, there we go. It's burning finally. I went on the on the wrong button, and so went towards the creeper for a second. So otherwise, we might have been able to avoid the death of the chicken. And I am very sorry for that. I mean, I know this can never be made even, but there's another chicken. If you want to be friends with that one, could just, yeah. Yeah, all right, that's working. That's working. All right, you guys are friends now. Perfect. Yes. Okay, so like people did in the day, it took 3 seconds to be in love, and then it turns out they actually the children of these noble houses that hate each other. They're opposite each other on a river, which was actually really beautifully stage set. Like the stage was set in a way that really evoked it. There was like a river in the middle and everything. But yeah, so they didn't realize this, but now the villain found out about it, and he's like, oh, those two houses that hate each other are going to unite, and then they're going to screw me over. So the villain is some sort of like minister, but because the emperor is gone, like I said, not in this play, but in it's going to be important in the next one. He's now kind of like the most powerful person. So what happened then? Oh yeah, so the villain minister, he basically calls in the mother and the father to his place, and like we can see that they do not get along. They don't get along even a little bit. Like the father is completely ignoring her. The mother is basically there because her husband recently died, and so well, there's basically no one else who could represent the house at the moment. So but the father of the other noble house is completely ignoring her before they like for a while before they go into a shouting match. But either way, the villain is basically like, you're just faking this. You're actually friends. You're going to kill me, and I don't want to be killed. So what we're gonna do, is we're not going to allow your children to be married. And at that moment they're like, what our children, what? And then they're accusing each other of like, you're trying to use this to bury the feud or something like that. It's pretty funny. But the villain's like, yeah, okay, enough with the charade. I know you're plotting. He's not saying this. This is just like his motivation in his head. And he's like, okay, so here's what's going to happen. Yeah, your son, he's going to be my retainer, my personal retainer. He's basically going to be my personal butt monkey. That's a Buffy reference, not a weird thing, okay? The weird thing, though, is that he's also saying, and your daughter, she's going to be my concubine. Okay, and so he has power, so he can make them do it or whatever, or destroy the house. He basically threatens them with this thing where he's like, your houses are like these cherry blossoms, and then he smashes the cherry branch, and the blossom fall off, and it's like, this could happen to your house. It's very it's a vibe for sure. It looked good. There's a lot of like cherry blossom imagery in this one too. So let me see. I'm almost at 20 minutes. I'm not wrapping this one up. It's gonna be a long one. Ooh-wee. You better watch to the end, because otherwise you won't know what's going on. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna try to finish the story, and then maybe in the next one I'm going to talk a little bit about the vibes. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. What's happened then? Okay. So they basically go back and have to tell their children now. And so the there's kind of like this thing where they both are suddenly like, well, our children, they will kill themselves if they find out that, because they love each other so much and they'd rather do this. There's also another wrinkle where the son is aware of like an empress, a lady who is loyal to the emperor, and the villain wants to get her and stuff like that. So there's like this kind of subplot. But either way, they're kind of like making a pact now, the father and the mother, to kind of save the children, the other child, basically, in a way, or like both children, in like by making them think that the other like decided to go through with it, basically, something like that. But they also both know it's like that both out of them are too honorable to actually do it. And so as they're trying to play this charade, it basically comes to it that the mother, the daughter, basically asks the mom to behead her. She's like, I'd rather die than this happen. And similar for the son is also like, I'm going to be tortured if this happens. We're going to not be able to, that the love will not prevail, etc., etc. So I might as well do seppuku, the honorable thing. And the parents are very like distraught, obviously, but very supportive of it. So the mom does go through it, and she just beheads her, basically. And then there was like this kind of, I don't think it was meant to be funny, but it was kind of played pretty funny, because so while the kid is like doing seppuku, he like already, I don't know if you probably noticed, but like basically it's like you cut open your stomach with a knife. That's the traditional way, and then you get beheaded to, I don't know, I guess finish it, end your suffering. Like that's why it's also called harakiri, which means like stomach cut. That's how I think it is more known in the West, but in Japan it's usually called seppuku, which I don't know the kanji for right now. But either way, so the kid basically does the cutting himself, and then his dad is like, wait a second. Like we gotta pretend that you're not doing it so she doesn't kill herself, And it's like he's like, you couldn't have thought of that before he stabbed himself. And then for like the next 40 minutes, the guy is like with a stab wound, like writhing on the floor before they actually go through it. And I was like, damn. I mean, obviously time is like goes differently in theater. You have to like fill in the gaps, or like things don't go as fast. But that was like a funny scene, because like he stabbed himself, and then his dad is like, wait a second. Okay. But yeah, either way, there's like the scene then where the beheaded woman, or the girl, gets the head gets shipped over through the river to the other house, and they get married in a way. I'm doing air quotes. I mean, I think actually, well, you don't need air quotes. It is just actually married in the terms of the story. With the kid who just the guy who just is in the middle of seppuku for the last 40 minutes. Seeing her face for the last time, and then okay, and now she is going to be your wife into eternity. And so they're like star-crossed lovers, but like different, right? Like, because the parents are actually in the end supportive, but they still have to die for, well, honor and certain other reasons. Love and political intrigue. So it's kind of interesting how they're doing this. And either way, so the father then beheads his own son as well. There's a lot of beheading going on. Okay, actually just 2 beheadings, but that's, I don't know. I mean, like usually, even in most plays, there's not that many beheadings. I watch a fair amount of plays, and there's not that many. In Kabuki, there's more actually in every play. I've only been to 2 Kabuki plays, and in each of them, there was beheading. So surprisingly common. But yeah, so the father then decides to, or it is decided that he goes to the villain and shows him the heads and be like, this is what we think of your orders. It's a bit weird, but either way, like it's the start of the comeuppance for the villain, which I think we will see next month. And you should definitely watch it if you have any chance to go to Tokyo. You should get tickets. It is so cool. Yeah, so the story was really cool, but what's really good, because I don't understand everything in this old time in Japanese. They do have like a program with English. It explains everything. You can look all of these plays up online beforehand, and a lot of it is like really drawn out. It's more about the ambience, the feeling, and the story is relatively thin, I would say, like compared to what you could do in that time for sure. Why am I using? I should choose this. Right. But yeah, like I said, the stage design is really beautiful. The acting is really quite amazing. It's like this it's like this pretty amazing craft, which is like unique. Like you can't see something like that anywhere. Oh, you know what? While I'm doing this, I'm gonna go back to the waterfall and have a little jump. I'm a thrill seeker. Yeah, I took a couple more notes. So let me just quickly see. That is, sets were amazing. Program in English. You can look up all these plays. They're like well known, and so you can just look them up. There's like a Kabuki. I forgot what the website is, but if you Google it, like you would just come across a website which gives like summaries of all of these plays. The traditional ones, anyways. Oh yeah, so in the, it's kind of interesting because the National Theatre, right? It's this really old building, really grand building. It's kind of, I talked about before how it actually reminded me of the Grand Ole Opry. I can't pronounce that, in Nashville in a way. Like it's like, it is incredibly old, but it also feels like fake old. It feels like kind of, it's I don't know. It's just a really interesting vibe, and there's a lot of food there. I went to the food hall, even though there's also like 6 stalls and cafes and everything. In the intervals, you can eat to your heart's content. I went to the food court. They have really nice bentos, but you have to book those in advance. So I just got a ramen, which was good. And there were a lot of other. We just stood in lines and visited a lot of the Japanese people, and you got either curry, ramen, soba. They have cakes, that kind of stuff. What's always surprising to me in Japanese, well, it's partly in Japanese place, but Japanese people in place, there's a lot, I guess, like there's a lot of old people always, but people are pretty willing to, like, nod off for a little bit, have a little sleep, there again, like I would also, like 1 in 15 people at least, like, nodded off for a while. And I mean, it's kind of interesting because, like, obviously there's like lulls, and it is really like a fun. Nice. That was really cool. Loved it. Let's do another one. But it gets kind of, especially for me, not understanding all of the Japanese, it gets kind of difficult to follow at some point, and then you're kind of like, okay, I'm getting a bit tired, especially because, so there were 2 intervals, but they were like after like 25 minutes. Then another 25 minutes, and then there was 2 hours of just like straight paying attention. Although there was like the climax there, it was not. Okay. I thought I was gonna kill myself. Holy moly! Oh, actually, adrenaline rush, pretty good. Like it. Nice. Yeah. So. Lots of people sleeping, lots of people eating, was good. When I'm going to Bunraku, I actually booked bento now because they look really good, and I want to try them before it's all gone. Is there anything else I should talk about? Let me just quickly see. I took notes on my iPad today, so that's different. Yeah, I think the only thing is there's this really cute mascot, which I guess probably will also be gone because I I think they probably won't carry it over to whatever theater they're going to make in what I said in 6 years. Like once this is torn down, they're going to wait for. They're going to renew. They're going to renovate for a while and do like a public partnership. I talked about this in, I don't know, probably like 40 episodes ago. I don't remember all my episodes. The horsey again. Oh no, maybe it's the cows. Maybe it's not the horses. I feel like maybe I was lying. Maybe it's both the horses and the cows. I don't know. Let's see. I'm very ADHD, even though I'm not. I don't really have ADHD. Yeah. So there's this mascot that I have, which is called what is it called? Kurogo-chan, which means like black clothes. Chan is like the cute word for they use here for anything that's cute. Kids and mascots, etc. Animals too. Here, sheep-chan, horse-chan. And yeah, it's like a really cool mascot, and he looks like looks more like a robber, but what it is like in Kabuki, there's these people who are dressed in all black because they're basically like, I guess like stagehands. They're doing stuff for the actors, like for example, putting seats in there, or if something like elaborate needs to be done about the like clothes change, which is a thing in Kabuki, or well, maybe also for one of the beheadings or whatever. They might do something, and they're clearly visible. They're just, but it's like the agreement with the audience, like you can't see them, right? Like this is something that's not happening. You're suspend your disbelief. And yeah, so they made that the mascot, and it's really cute. So that's really the only thing I wanted to say. Except for that, okay, man, 32 minutes. Is this my longest video? Might be. Yeah. Like, subscribe, comment. I mean, I'd be interesting to know what you think about either Kabuki or like any type of performing arts. What you're into, what you want to learn more about. Let me know about this. Is that a mushroom? It might be. Oh no, I built that. It's the arrow I built. Oh, look at that zombie. Why did he appear and then die? Oh no, I think you didn't have to die. I think if you had just stayed down there, you could have lived. Well, either way, that's it for today. Oh yeah, and obviously, you guys stay spooky. Bye bye.